I made that decision because I looked at the future. I looked at the fact that I was going to have a baby. I looked at the fact that I was married. And I looked at the fact that I wanted to build a museum.
George Lucas is an American director, writer, producer, and businessman. Lucas's movies are ranked among the 100 highest-grossing films at the North American box office. He's best known for creating the Star Wars and Indiana Jones franchises. He's also the founder of the production company Lucasfilm and the technical effects company Industrial Light and Magic. In 2005, Lucas received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Film Institute. He's been nominated for 4 Academy Awards, Best Director and Writing for both American Graffiti and Star Wars. In 1991, he received the Academy's Irving G. Thalberg Award. He was inducted into the Science Fiction Hall of Fame in 2006.
To the people that worked there or the company, and so I had made a decision to move ahead on the next Star Wars series, and we were starting to do that.
If you enjoy these videos, please remember to hit the like button, as it does help us out a lot. And comment below who your favorite celebrity is that you'd love to see in an upcoming video. His full name is George Walton Lucas Jr., but is also known as Luke. He was born May 14, 1944 in Modesto, California, making him 77 at the time of this production. He stands at 1.7 meters or 5 feet 6 inches tall. His favorite stage of filmmaking is editing the film together. He's a fan of Doctor Who. As a fan of Family Guy, he occasionally gives the producers the clearance to do Star Wars gags on the series. He cites the work of mythologist Joseph Campbell as an influence. Lucas is a signatory of the philanthropic Giving Pledge, indicating his intention to donate at least half of his wealth to charity by the time he dies or at his death. In 2013, Lucas received the National Medal of Arts by President Barack Obama for his contributions to American cinema. He's donated millions to causes that support cancer research and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He's donated more than $175 million to his alma mater, USC. Even after giving billions to charity, George Lucas is easily the wealthiest celebrity on the planet. He's a diabetic. It was discovered when he reported for military conscription. As a result, he was classified as 4F, unfit for military service due to physical reasons. He's a major collector of the American illustrator and painter Norman Rockwell. A collection of 57 Rockwell paintings and drawings owned by Lucas and fellow Rockwell collector and film director Steven Spielberg were displayed at the Smithsonian American Art Museum from July 2, 2010 to July 2, 2011 in an exhibition titled Telling Stories. Lucas was married to film editor Marcia Lou Griffin, who won an Academy Award for her editing work on the original Star Wars from 1969 to 1983. They adopted a daughter, Amanda Lucas, in 1981. Lucas adopted 2 more children as a single parent, Katie Lucas and Jet Lucas. His 3 children all appeared in the 3 Star Wars prequels. Lucas also dated singer Linda Ronstadt in the 80s. Lucas married Melody Hobson, chair of DreamWorks Animation, in 2013 after dating for 7 years. They have 1 daughter born via surrogate in 2013.
Bob Iger said, gee, if you really want to sell your company, if you're thinking about selling it, because we were talking about retirement and what are you going to do after all this kind of stuff. And he said, well, if you really want to sell it, we're very interested.
George Lucas initially had his eye on a career in racing cars, but after a potentially fatal accident in high school in which another driver broadsided him, Lucas's interests shifted considerably. Lucas's father owned a stationery store and wished for George to work for him when he graduated high school. However, George wanted to attend art school and declared upon leaving home that he was determined to be a millionaire by the age of 30. During his time at Modesto Junior College, Lucas became enthusiastic about photography and filmmaking. He started small, filming car races and other footage with an 8mm camera. He eventually transferred to the University of Southern California, where he befriended fellow filmmaker Steven Spielberg and won accolades during his postgraduate studies, including a Warner Brothers student scholarship. His 1967 student film, Electronic Labyrinth, THX 1138-4EB, was eventually made into his 1971 premiere full-length feature film, THX 1138. Though it was poorly received, the project led to a more successful venture in American Graffiti, which garnered 5 Academy Award nominations. It was his next film that would become an even bigger hit and seal Lucas as a Hollywood film legend. Filmed on a budget of $11 million, Star Wars became a global phenomenon when it was released in 1977. Decades later, Lucas would spend $15 million on restoration costs for the movie's re-release. Star Wars spawned a further 2 sequels in the early 1980s that were also hugely successful and continued to build out the Star Wars universe. A further Star Wars trilogy was helmed by Lucas in the late 1990s and early 2000s, focusing on events that happened before the original films. Though he only directed 6 films in total, Lucas acted as producer, executive producer, and writer on several films. Some of his bigger successes include Body Heat, Labyrinth, The Land Before Time, and the Indiana Jones film franchise. George had a cursory involvement in Solo, a Star Wars story, back in the year 2018, and then in 2019 he wrote the script for The Rise of Skywalker. He continued working on the 3 films of the Skywalker saga, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi, before announcing his retirement from the series.
Stand over the shoulder of the director, help him, whisper in his ear constantly, no, do this, do that, and be there to help guide it.
George Lucas's $10 billion net worth makes him by far the richest celebrity in the world, the richest director, and generally the richest person in the entertainment industry. In 1968, George's salary from Finney and Rainbow was only $3,000. In 1981, George earned $2.5 million from Lost Ark. Then in 1999, the filmmaker was able to earn $400 million from Star Wars Episode I, and then in 2012, he sold the Lucasfilm Company to Walt Disney for $4.1 billion. In 2005, the filmmaker reportedly earned $290 million. In 2012, George sold the rights to the Star Wars franchise to Disney for $4 billion in cash and stock. Lucas received $2.21 billion in cash and 37 million shares of stock, which at the time was trading at around $50. So at the time the deal closed, he received $1.85 billion worth of Disney shares. With this share count and Disney's semi-annual 88-cent dividend, Lucas earns around $64 million per year in dividend payments. In March 2021, when Disney's share price neared $200, those 37 million shares had grown to be worth $7.4 billion. He has a net worth of $10 billion. George's largest real estate asset is the nearly 6,000-acre Skywalker Ranch in Marin County, California. He purchased the ranch in 1978 and has spent over $100 million turning the property into a private home, movie studio, retreat, and screening theater for 300 people. The property also features a 50,000 square foot private home, several pools, tennis courts, and more. In 2017, he purchased a 9,000 square foot home in the Bel Air neighborhood of Los Angeles for $33.9 million. In 2010, he spent $19.5 million for a beachfront home just south of Santa Barbara. He tore down the existing home and built a much larger Cape Cod-style house on the property. In December 2019, George spent $28 million to buy the house next door. The house next door had previously been owned by a woman named Frances Morhart, who died in 2018 at the age of 93. His new combined beachfront footprint is over 3 acres. He owns the following vehicles: a Fiat Bianchina, a Ferrari F360, a 1974 Ferrari Dino, a Mosler MT900S,